All right, it looks like we are all good to go. Again, thank you for joining us. I have a lot of good information that I'd like to share with you this afternoon, and welcome to Coder Foundry. First off, Natasha Sanders. I work with our students in a lot of different ways. I work a little bit on the admissions side, getting students in the door, understanding about our offerings and what Coder Foundry will bring to you as a student. And then my primary focus is working with our students on their job placement at the exit of the program. There's a lot that goes into that as far as preparation throughout the cohort with interview styles, resume building, of course, a professional headshot. So there's a lot that kind of goes in behind the scenes on preparing you for jobs and interviews, and I work heavily with our student engagement there. So that's a little bit about me. I'd like to kind of first dive into Coder Foundry and just what we are and who we are. So we are a .NET boot camp. I've done a little bit of research about .NET, the .NET stack, and just the where it kind of is and where it lies in the marketplace in general. And in 2018, being a full stack developer was named one of the fastest jobs in North Carolina and in the U.S. So if you're considering making the transition to development, I think you've chosen a good career path as a whole as far as trending upward in the marketplace for job readiness and job availability. I think it's going to be a good transition. And you can, of course, do your own due diligence and research and kind of understanding what the marketplace holds. I've done a couple things that, though, I would like to share with you all. Just to kind of give you a good idea. So if you look at Indeed, if you're not familiar with Indeed, Indeed is a great website if you're looking for a job in general. You can look at specific cities and different job postings specific to those cities. So what I did was just the best jobs of 2019. So you can see that number 3 on the list falls as a full stack developer. You can see there's a lot of upward mobility, and definitely the salary range is would be sufficient for making such a transition. So if you're thinking about making a transition, you've chosen the right path in considering being a software developer. So you've made that decision, so what's next, right? So there's all these different languages that you can choose and frameworks and things that you can go after and try to learn from. I want to just kind of share with you, because I focus on job placement and I focus on making sure that our students are able to transition out of our program into real jobs. It's important to know what the market holds for you as you're determining what stack do I want to learn. So again, and these numbers were actually pulled yesterday, so this is as raw and fresh numbers as I can bring to you available. If you do a search on Indeed for Ruby on Rails developer, great stack, great opportunities. If you look though, there are only 40 jobs available in North Carolina as of yesterday for Ruby on Rails. So, you got to think about, what type of competition you're going to be up against, what their backgrounds may be that are applying for those same 40 jobs. So something to think about whenever you're, looking at Ruby on Rails. And then I also put in full stack JavaScript developer. Now, the results came back a little bit different. So we're looking at 199 jobs that came up in North Carolina, much different from Ruby on Rails, but still, again, look at your competition. Who are you interviewing against? What type of skills are they bringing? Where does that put you in the marketplace as far as you transitioning into one of those full stack JavaScript positions? So then I did a search on .NET developers, and there you can absolutely see there's 491 jobs that posted in just North Carolina yesterday. Your odds of learning or obtaining one of those jobs compared to the others, you're just going to have a higher ratio. There's more of them. There's a much more of a deficit in the marketplace right now for .NET developers. The shelf life, in general speaking, the shelf life for a senior .NET developer is less than 24 hours. So if you were working as a senior dev, you lost your position yesterday, you technically could be interviewing, if not, going on site with a new consultancy opportunity within 24 hours at a senior level. Now, I work with all levels of our Coder Foundry alumni, from our juniors that are coming right out of the program to our mid-levels that have had anywhere from 1 to 3 years of practical experience. And now we are entering in that senior level because we were born in 2014. So many of our alumni are now entering in their 5th year of development. So I'm actually engaging in a lot of senior opportunities for some of our past alumni that have came through the program. So as you can see, indeed, it says it right there, 491 jobs just in North Carolina. So .NET, we bleed .NET here, we believe in it. And so I think you've chosen or considering a great option in your development walk. So .NET in general, it is a cross-platform framework. You can do web, of course, mobile. Xamarin is a tool now that Microsoft has put out. As long as you are coding in C#, you can deploy to both Android and iOS devices using C# as your backend. Of course, desktop, microservices, gaming, Unity, again, C#. You're using C# and Unity if you want to make a game. Again, .NET, machine learning, cloud, and the Internet of Things. So C#, it's where it's at as far as being cross-functional and being able to do the things that you want to do as a developer in any entity that you'd like to kind of pursue. You're kind of limitless in where you want to go with it. Here at Coder Foundry, we focus on ASP.NET. So what that means, HTML, CSS, JavaScript are the things that we focus on the front end. You're going to be working with a SQL database, and you'll be working with C# on the back end. So that's kind of our sweet spot here. We are full stack development cycle, and we build large enterprise applications. So one of the things that I've noticed whenever I'm researching just a lot of students that come to us maybe came from different boot camps and such. The projects that we align our students to are enterprise level applications. They're not gaming or small applications. These are actual applications that an enterprise would actually possibly even bring on to use because of the level of complexity that they have. And that's important to understand whenever you're shopping your boot camp and shopping where you're kind of going to want to go. Make sure you do your due diligence in what you're going to be building and how you're going to be able to apply it and possibly demo it for an employer. The employers that we work with are quite large, so it's very important that we bring top tier demo applications to them. Class schedule starting. So our next session starts on September the 30th. That class will be a 12-week in-person session. We run from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. So it is an immersive learning. It's going to run September 30th through December the 20th. So for those 12 weeks, I need you to kind of carve out that time. You're going to be here with me Monday through Friday. In the evenings, we tell students you're going to go home, you're going to grab some lunch or dinner, maybe rest for a little bit, and then you'll probably jump back on and code for the rest of the evening. It's important that you understand what you're signing up for and how it's going to benefit you in the long term, but what the commitment is. It's a rigorous program that requires a lot of time and your commitment. So we are registering now. It's important. There's quite a few steps to admittance into Coder Foundry, including the quiz, including an interview, including some JavaScript exercises. So it's not something where you can just sign up today and just be accepted tomorrow. It is quite a process. So if you have any interest at all, I encourage you soon. I need you to apply, to go ahead and start the process so that we can begin moving with you. So that starts on the 30th. So job placement. I work, again, directly with each student individually regarding their job search. There's 3 things that I kind of hone in on that I need to know from our students to understand how I can help them the best. Location, functionality, and salary are the 3 things that really are most important. I tell students all the time, location is probably the first and most important thing coming out of the program. I need each student to be open to their first job. It could be, you may not want to live in Raleigh for a long term. I get that. I totally get that. but just take that first job to break into the industry, to get that experience, to learn, working on a team, to really just get your feet wet. And then at that point, you've been there a year and you're ready to transition back to the Triad, or you want to move to Raleigh, or if you want to move up north, you can do that. You're going to be much more mobile once you have that first 6 months to a year experience. So I tell students all the time, just trust us in that first job is not your last job, it's not your only job. So the more flexible you are in taking that first job, the quicker this is going to happen for you, and the sooner you're going to be able to actually start contributing to a team. Of course, functionality, full stack development is really where I focus. There may be some students sometimes that say, I really like the front end, or I really find myself better on the back end. That's cool to know, and I'm glad that students share that with me. But in general speaking, it's important that you kind of summarize yourself as a full stack developer and be open to both front and back end development needs. Salary is also obviously a huge topic point for a lot of my students because they're leaving different positions. They've left, possible careers that they had higher earnings at. I'm very much a realist when it comes to salary earnings. Depending on the background of the student will depend on the student salary whenever I place them. So that is an individual conversation that I would welcome an opportunity to have with each of you. We'll kind of look at what you've came from, what backgrounds you've came from, and what I realistically think that I can transition for you into the marketplace as a .NET junior developer. Excuse me. Here are just some of the employers that a few of our past alumni have landed. Of course, some of the bigger names: Microsoft, Discover, Wells Fargo, Belk. These are obviously your large names, but our alumni are working there as software developers. Some local names that probably be more familiar to you if you're in the Triad: Lincoln Financial, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Duke Energy out of Charlotte. We've had a couple alumni go there. And then there are so many large regional firms that you may not have name recognition to, but you may actually have used their products before and not even realize it. So we work a lot with local regional firms that have products behind the scenes that, again, you wouldn't know that they would have such a 20 or 30 person dev team unless you're engaged with that client. So there's we have a lot of employers that we work with in that realm. So the Launchpad program is probably our newest product that we rolled out probably in June of this year, and it's been super successful, and we are going to continue to work with the Launchpad program for aspiring developers. Probably the number one question I get for Launchpad is there an upfront cost? And the answer is no. There is not an upfront cost with Launchpad. It is an income share agreement, which I'll go into the details. When does the payment begin for Launchpad? You will not begin your tuition repayment until you earn a position over $40,000 per year. Once you earn that $40,000 per year, you will be then given into an income share agreement over a period of 36 payments or $25,000, whichever comes first. So if you're earning at $40K, you wouldn't pay the $25,000, you would pay it those 36 payments. That would make it dissolve. But if you're earning $80,000 per year, obviously 15% of $80,000 per year is going to be a little bit higher payment. So you would meet that 25 threshold and your payment would dissolve before the $25,000. So it's whichever comes first. And I'll be happy to answer any questions kind of around those specifics. You're welcome to reach out directly and I can kind of clear up any questions you might have. Again, how is it capped? $25,000 or 36 months. Is this a loan? A lot of students say, and they kind of raise their eyebrows and they're like, is this a loan? Or what am I signing up for? So you got to think about, what is a loan? A loan is determined on your FICO score. You're given an interest rate, you're giving a term, and you're given a payment. No matter what happens, you're going to be making that payment on the due date for a term. That is a traditional loan. Launchpad is different. if you're not earning $40,000 per year, you do not pay. You're not paying a payment. If you were to be laid off, if you were to lose your job, if you were to move and just be in transit, you would not pay your tuition reimbursement during that period. You are only going to make those payments when you are earning a salary. So that, I think, is probably the primary difference between that of a loan and that of a Launchpad, the Launchpad product. If you are interested in being considered for the Launchpad program, you need to go to our website, coderfoundry.com/launchpad. There is an application there you'll want to complete. The more detail that you can give on that application, the better for us. That way we can kind of get a good indication of where you've been, what's brought you to this point, and why you want to transition to becoming a developer. So I do recommend that you start there with the application, and then immediately following that application, allow yourself time to take our quiz. Our quiz is a logical thinking assessment that's on our website. You can find it at coderfoundry.com/quiz. It's free, but it is an hour long. So you're going to make sure that you don't have any distractions going on at the time. You need to make sure that you can focus. The score, depending on your score from that quiz, will determine what your next steps are. So I can't stress to you enough to make sure that you're not distracted and that you can focus in on that hour just to really be able to do your best. I also recommend that you do it on a desktop or a laptop. You can take the quiz on your mobile phone, but just because of what the quiz entails, I do recommend that you take it in a way that you have a little bit more time, a little bit more room just to kind of spread out and get your thoughts. Maybe have a pen and paper handy to really do your best on that quiz. So we also, some students prefer not to go through the Launchpad program, which is completely fine. We do have two lending partners that have been really great to us through the years. We have Meritize and Climb. Both of them are truly traditional lending options. So you would actually go into their portal, which is located on our website, and our financing options. You can apply immediately and find out your results. Meritize normally takes just a few more days in their acceptance because they are not only looking at your FICO score, but they consider your GPA. So let's say you're a student, you've had a great run in college, your GPA is at a 3.7, and you're interested in Coder Foundry, then I would highly recommend that you look at Meritize because they're going to only look at your FICO score, but you're also going to submit your transcript. So they're going to look at both things in order to determine your eligibility for acceptance. So Meritize is really great for the student. Climb is more of a traditional partner. You basically would just put in your information, your FICO score would then populate on their end, and you would have a result typically it's within the hour, they will give you back your acceptance letter to be able to move forward with Climb. So, of course, our tuition cost is $14,900. So whenever you go into Meritize or Climb, you're going to want to make sure that you submit the right tuition cost for our program. Should you want to pay out of pocket for any reason, if you use a credit card, if you have other means of payment, you're welcome to do so. There is a $3,000 discount for any student that pays out of pocket. And that is it. So thank you so much for taking time out of your lunch hour to join me today. Really excited for the upcoming cohort in September. A lot going on here. We have a full class in session now. We're going to have a full class in session. We have typically around 20 students per class. So it's exciting, busy time here at Coder Foundry, and we're just really thankful for your interest. I always like to kind of open up the end for any Q&A. If there were any questions that you might have regarding our program that maybe I did not cover, now is your time to kind of ask those questions. I'll be happy to address them. And if not, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have via email. So thank you so much for joining us, and have a good evening. Thank you.